Hello, welcome back to the Explore YouTube channel. Today we are going to continue with the Python MCQs. So basically today we are going to get our hands dirty with some of these questions. So let's begin without any delay. So initially I can see that okay, there's this fruits list which is containing apple, banana and grapes. Okay. Then it said that okay, print fruits of -1, and again there's this bracket length of fruits of 1 by 2 or divided by 2. So there's a lot going on here. So let's kind of digest this into some parts. So basically what I'm going to do is that okay, length of fruits of 1. It's not said length of fruits. If it was length of fruits, then it would have been 3. But up here it's fruits of 1, which is nothing but at the 1th index it's banana, right? So what is the length of banana here? It's nothing but it's a string, so the length up here is 6, right? So 6 divided by 2. Notice it's not 6 by 2. So 6 by 2 in Python will give me 3.0. But if I do a 6 divided by 2, it's going to give me 3. So basically this is nothing but an integer division in Python. I hope that makes sense. So on that note, this entire stuff can be simplified to nothing but fruits of -1, and this will be 6 by 2, which is nothing but 3. Now what is fruits of -1? So basically -1 is nothing but it won't give me an error. Don't think that okay, this is going to give me an error. So -1 is nothing but negative indexing, and negative indexing is kind of supported in Python. So this is the positive indexing 0, 1 and 2. If I talk about the negative indexing, then it will begin from the very end, -1, it will go to -2 and it will go to -3. That's pretty much it. So as of now, can I not say that -1 is kind of pointing to this value which is nothing but grapes? Yes, it is. So as of now, I'm kind of going to have grapes up here, and there is this 3 here. Okay, I'm kind of simplifying this. Fruits, see, entire this fruits of -1 is nothing but grapes, and this 3 remains same, right? I just copied that up here. So grapes of 3, which kind of says that okay, give me the third index from this grapes string. So 0, 1, 2 and 3, and at the third index I can see the value p is there. So the entire answer for this stuff here, like the entire answer for this statement here, will be nothing but my string p. That's it. Okay, now I can see that okay, it said fruits 2 is equivalent to fruits. Now what does this mean? Okay, so when I say that okay, there's a number a equal to, when I say that okay, there's this number a is equivalent to 5, when I say that b is equal to a, then b is also containing a, right? I mean b is also initialized to value 5. So what does this really say? So as of now, suppose this fruits is a list, right? So suppose this is your memory. Okay, suppose this is your memory and the fruits list is up here. The fruits list is up here at some location. Suppose the location is x. Suppose x is my location, okay, or the address here in the memory. And it said that okay, fruits 2 is equivalent to fruits. Then in this case, my fruits 2 won't be given another list. Okay, it will be initialized to this fruits list itself, and it will be at the same location x itself. Okay, so as of now it said that okay, print fruits 2 is equivalent to fruits. Then this is going to give me what? It's going to give me true. It's going to give me true. That's pretty much it. And again, it's not like okay, there will be these it won't be like okay, there will be apostrophe symbol here. Okay, it will be p itself and it will be true up itself. Okay, true here. Okay, let's see. So nextly we have fruits 3 is equivalent to fruits. Again, this same stuff will follow. So fruits 3 will come up here, and again it's going to point to fruits here, which is again at the x location. Now it said print id of fruits is equivalent to id of fruits 3. So what does id say? So id says that okay, if I do an id of maybe fruits here, if I write id of fruits, that's going to give me id or nothing but the location where the fruits list is stored. So I can see that it's stored at x. So id of fruits is nothing but x as of now, and id of fruits 3, again it's pointing to this same location, again it's x. So again x is equivalent to x, so it's going to be true. True is the output. Okay, now I'm saying that okay, fruits 3 at the second location, initialize that value with guava. Okay, so as of now, basically fruits so suppose fruits 3 was something like this. Okay, fruits 3 was apple, then we had banana, and then we'll be having grapes, but I can see that at the second location or the second index, guava will be there. So basically, I'm just going to put guava here. So this should be guava. Okay, so what does this do is that, okay, in the fruits 3 array or in the fruits 3 list, basically at the second location, guava value has been changed. But it said that, okay, in the next line, print fruits and fruits 3. Will both the lists be same or different? Well, they both will be same. Why? So you might be like, okay, only in the fruits 3 list, the guava value is changed, but the fruits value will be same, right? Apple, banana, and grapes. No, you're completely wrong. Because they are pointing at the same location, the list is actually one. There are multiple references to that list. Therefore, if I change any value in fruit 3, then it will reflect in the original fruits array as well. So these both lists will print the same. And what they will print? They will print this list here, apple, banana, and guava. Okay. On that note, let's go to this one. So we have fruits 4 is equivalent to fruits. Notice up here, we did not have this representation, right? We did not have this representation. Up here, we have this thing. So what does this say that, okay, up here, suppose if this was my location here, my fruits is stored up here. This is a list. It's stored at suppose X. Now it's saying create a fruits for, which is going to fruits for list which is going to have the list elements equivalent to fruits, right? So if fruits is having apple, banana, and grapes, then fruits for is also going to have that, but it's going to allocate it a separate memory location. This is very important. It's going to allocate it a very separate memory location. So this is at a location X, then this is going to be at a location Y. That's it. So as of now, I'm saying that print id of fruits. So id of fruits is what? X. ID of fruits 4 is what? Y. So is X equal to Y? No, it is not. So in this case, my output will be what? False. My output will be false. That's it. Okay, now it said that, okay, fruits 4 at the 0th location is guava. So basically, what I'm going to do is that, okay, fruits 4 was as similar as apple, banana, and grapes. But as of now, at the 0th location in fruits 4, this will be turned to guava, right? So in my fruits 4 list, basically, I'll be having guava followed by banana followed by grapes. Okay, now it said that, okay, print fruits and fruits for. Again, will the lists be same or different? Well, up here they will be different and not the same, because fruits 4 is located at a different location, which is Y, right? I mean, it is having an ID Y. Okay, just think that in that way. So basically fruits 4 of 0 is guava. So up here this will be the output, but fruits will still be the same. So there will be no modification in the fruits list, which is this one. So fruits is going to give me still apple, banana, and grapes. Okay, that's pretty much it. Okay, let's move forward. So we have a list here. Info is 1, 2, and 3. Now there's this operation which is quite important. Info is equivalent to info of colon colon minus 1. So what does this do? Well, in Python, this operation is going to kind of reverse the list here. Reverse the list here. So as of now, 1, 2, 3 was the original list. Now I'm telling that, okay, info will be initialized to the reverse of that list. So this kind of becomes 3, 2, and 1. And therefore, if I print info, this is going to give me 3, 2, and 1. Again, this operation is quite handy. Okay. Okay. Now we have something called info1 is equivalent to info.extend. And there's this list here in the argument here. This is the argument parameter, the argument which is going to be up here, and it's a list here. So what does dot extend do? What does dot extend do? So dot extend is going to basically add or append to the end of the list the new list here. Okay, so for example, up here info is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3 is there, and I call this operation dot extend. Then what will really happen is that, okay, 6, 5, and 4 will come up here. That's it. Okay, that's it. By the way, 1, 2, 3 was there, right? So this operation kind of changed it to 3, 2, 1, if I'm not wrong. So 3, 2, 1 was the new info here, right? I hope that makes sense. And then I'll be having 6, 5, and 4. So this is what the extend operation does. Now I'm saying, notice carefully, I'm saying print info 1. Print info 1. So what will this give me? That's the question. And then in the next line, I'm saying print info. So what will this give me? So basically, info1 is going to give me nothing but none. Why? You might be saying that, okay, info1 is initialized to info.extend 654. So info1 should give me this sort of like the list here, right? It kind of makes sense. It's info.extend this much. No, it's not going to do that. Why? See, because the major reason is that the dot extend operation up here, the dot extend operation kind of changes this info list in place, right? In place. So I don't really need info1 even, right? I don't even need info1. Even if I just performed, suppose I ignore this part here, if I ignore this part here, even if I just perform info.extend 654, then my info list will be changed to this one, right? Therefore, info1 up here is not required, right? Info1 up here is not required. Although I have given it just for your clear understanding that, okay, even if I print info1 here, it will be none. And no, it won't be this value, okay? It won't be this value. Okay, great. Now, if I print info, now info will be happily printed in this manner, 321654. That's pretty much it. So basically, can I not say that, okay, the operation which is kind of taking in place, right, happening in place, then if I assign it to any variable, then that variable will be of no use, right? Or it will be containing the value none itself. Even if you kind of print, suppose this is a list here, suppose this is a list, values 1, 2, and 3 is there, and if you kind of print type of list, then this is going to give you the output as follows: class, and then you're gonna get list. This is how you get the output type, right? If you perform type of info1, if you perform type of info1, what will that give? Basically, if you think that, okay, this will give me list, no, again you are wrong, because that's a none. So if you perform type of info1, then this is going to give you the output nothing but class none type, none type. This is what the output will be. Okay, these are few things, very small few things which you have to take care of. Okay, great. Now we have info2. Info2 is equivalent to info.sort. So info.sort is going to sort this array. So this is going to become, info is going to become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I hope that makes sense. So as of now, my info is nothing but this list here. Okay. Now it said that, okay, info2 is info.sort. Print info2 and print info. So info, I know for a fact that it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. What will be info2? Again, info2 will be none. Why? Again, I've explained here that as similar to dot extend operation, it kind of happens in place. Again, info.sort happens in place. So I don't really need info2 here. But again, I have initialized with info2. So again, info2 is going to be having none value. That's pretty much it. So I hope the explanation was quite clear enough. If you found something useful from this video, please make sure to like the video and do subscribe the channel as well. Thank you.